So I'm here with...
Scott McDonald.
Nice to meet you, Scott.
You as well.
Whereabouts are you from originally?
From Cornwall, Ontario originally.
And how was your childhood growing up in Cornwall?
Childhood was good. We were like middle to somewhat upper class, I guess, even. We lived on a farm growing up, so thought the old McDonald had a farm kind of thing. Rings true, because then we moved from one farm to another.
How was it growing up on a farm?
Doing a lot about hard work and values growing up on a farm, right? I mean, if I grew up in the city, I think it'd be a lot different. I think I'd be a completely different person than what I am. Because even from a young age, you learn about hard work and what it takes to make it, I guess, in a way, right? And getting up to do hay and stuff like that with your parents at like 6 in the morning.
What brought you to Vancouver?
Job opportunity is what initially brought me out here, and just for kind of change of life as well as what I was looking for. So I like going to new places, exploring new areas and things like that. So
When did you come to Vancouver?
about 5 years ago, I think 2018, January 2018 or 17, one of the two. The place where I was working in Ontario was on the verge of closing, so it was a good time to kind of pick up and move somewhere else anyway.
So how was it when you first moved here?
Well, when I first moved here, things were pretty good. I was living with my best friend, working, and good job. I was head of sales and marketing, working right at the Pacific Center, so nice area. The office tower there that has Holt Renfrew in it and whatnot, big office. So it was nice working there until I wasn't working there.
What happened with that?
Best friend kind of turned out to be not really friendly, shall we say. And argument ended up, losing the job and losing the place I was living at, and ended up out on the streets for close to a year or so.
Wow. What was it like living on the streets for you?
It's good and bad. I mean, I can see why some people kind of gravitate towards it, because there's a certain aspect of freedom that comes with it. You don't have to, there's nothing to answer to, feels like there's no repercussions out there for anything that you do, and you can just get up and go anywhere you want. But at the same time, the days that are hard out there when you have nothing are really hard, harder than if you had a place to live with nothing. If you have no money and a place to live, you still have your food, you still have your amenities all around you. Whenever you have nothing out on the streets and it's the middle of winter, it's a pretty shitty feeling, some days. Kind of makes you feel like, like humanity as a whole doesn't give a shit about you, really.
What do you think can be done to help other homeless people here?
It can only be done if people want to help themselves. There's some people that will never be able to really live in a place, to be honest. If you think about it, I mean, there's people that go in and just destroy their places that they live in, right? And that's how they always end up out on the street, is because they can't live in a place like in a normal, mature fashion, To help homeless people, I mean, really, if you take a look at around the Vancouver area at how many abandoned houses there are, for example, why not start sticking people in those? I saw a whole complex right near Marine Drive that's like abandoned. It's all boarded up and abandoned. That could house like so many people. I don't know why they don't do that, instead of buying up like these hotels and wasting millions of dollars on that, turning them into SROs, which is just, I've never lived in a place where you have to give ID to have your friends over. Like,
Can you describe what it's like in those SROs?
The one that I lived in, the one on Granville Siesta Rooms, that's actually one of the better ones, even though it still had bed bugs. I never had bed bugs in my life in Ontario. But some of the other ones, they are just like, it goes everywhere from being drug dens to murder houses almost. Like, some of them are pretty bad.
Wow.
Like, you'll hear people screaming in some of them for help even, and nobody goes to help. It's weird. I haven't encountered those situations personally. I'm just hearing about it from stories that I know that are true. So,
Do you remember when you first started using drugs?
yeah, well, I was about 14 when I smoked my first joint. I was 20 whenever I first tried opiates for my back pain, and I still unfortunately do use them now, but it's more managing my back pain than really doing it for like the high or anything, that because like I don't even think I really do get high off it like that. I don't know, but I know I'm able to stand up straight.
Can you describe what it's like on East Hastings for people who are unfamiliar with it?
If you're unfamiliar with East Hastings, the best way to put it would be it is the personification of the black market in a way. You can get everything from drugs, you can get weapons, you can get, if you want, probably hookers, people, whatever you want. It's there for the taking, so to speak. For the right money, you can get whatever you want, and at the same time, it's probably one of the dirtiest streets, that section, in Canada. Like, everyone there will likely get some type of infection because of how dirty it is out there. Like, I've never had any kind of staph infection in my life until I lived out here. I've been to the hospital more out here than I have in my life because of things like that. So,
Wow.
and I mean, you walk around, you see people shooting up drugs with all kinds of sores all over their arms, legs, you know. There's a lot of, I'm sure, STDs out here as well. There's, syphilis is a pretty common thing out here. One of my old friends, he's now gone basically schizophrenic because he didn't treat his syphilis. And he keeps threatening one of my other good friends now. And it's just a weird situation.
And what are some of the craziest things you've seen?
Well, about 2 months ago, I was on my way to the store at about 20 after 4 in the morning to get cigarettes, and I see what looked like a garbage can on fire. So I called in to report the fire, and mid-phone call, I go around to the side of the garbage can. It's not a garbage can fire, it's just a guy sitting on a chair with 6-foot flames coming off of him. And then after he died while I was standing there, the after effects of someone having been on fire are not really something that I'd wish anybody to see. I could describe it in detail, but I don't think you really want that kind of story in detail. If you really do, I'll do it. But so after he got put out, the blood is still boiling in your body, so it's causing his body to convulse, making it look like he's moving, but he's not. And then there's a thing called death moans, right? Which is the air escaping from your body, still passing over your larynx. So it sounds like he's going, right? It makes it sound like he's still alive. And then, because the fire was hot enough to liquefy his insides, his eyes and nose had his brain kind of leak out of it, which was not really something that I want anybody to see. I'm glad my little girl and my girlfriend weren't with me. And 2 minutes prior to him, I guess, being in the back of the building where it happened, in the alleyway, that guy was in front of the building, from what I heard from his friend that was there. So how within 2 minutes that guy is that lit on fire, I have no idea. He was still sitting on a chair, he had his crack pipe in his hand and everything. Is that crazy enough?
That's pretty crazy. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
No problem. Appreciate yours.